Hey guys, how's it going? I am on the final day of the Alpine Adventure Petrolhead Tours trip. So I've obviously released my initial first day going to the Alps video. Now this one I just want to talk about the adventures, the stuff we got up to, what this trip is all about. I knew this was going to be a good trip before it started because I've heard so many good things about these Petrolhead tours. I was fortunate enough to meet Pete on Fuel Faction earlier on in the year, and I got on really well. After witnessing and seeing how Pete drives, I figured and I knew it would be a very, very good driver's trip. Why are you looking at me, Pete?
There's no competitive element. So when we leave from here today, as I said, we'll go that way and then we'll take a left just up there. We're straight into Fun Roads almost immediately.
We've delayed our start a little bit on purpose so that we can sort of push on for the first half hour of these amazing roads that we've got ahead of us. Everyone is from completely different walks of life and they're all such nice people, and we all share one thing in common: we love to drive. So that's what Pete's trips are about. They're real proper driving trips. They're not about look at me and look at my car. Yes, you get some crazy exotic cars on this trip. You know, we've got the McLaren 12C, we've got the Scuderia, we've got that amazing Alfa Romeo GTA, which is an Alfaholics car, which I found out now and I didn't know in the first video. It's a Challenge Stradale. And then there's unusual cars like James and his really cool 370Z that's been very tweaked. He's had that about 6 years and he's changed many things on it, and that just, it's a weapon. So there's all sorts of cars, but to top it all off, you've got Pete and Dan, who are both absolute legends, lovely people, incredible drivers, but they both run the tours in their M235i's. Now, again, to a lot of people who own supercars, they might look at that and think, oh, how can they be setting the pace in those cars? You know, like, that's impossible. How, I'm not going to bring my McLaren along because it'll be too slow. Well, no, you're completely wrong. Trust me on this. Nice hotel though, very nice hotel. Pete, I've only got a 64 gig memory card, so if you crack on, that'd be great.
So, today is day 3.
It's a bit slippy, so if anyone wants to take the lead, they're welcome. I'm good.
Hey guys, welcome to the top of the San Bernardino Pass. I've never driven up here and that was my first time, and wow, what a route, what a road. We were lucky enough literally to hit no traffic. A couple of motorbikes coming the other way right at the bottom, but I'm sure you've just seen my run and wow. We're just having lunch over there. Most of the cars are here. We kind of separated a bit today, but oh, here comes C63. Great timing. One of the best weeks of my life. I've had such a good time, and this is the last day. We're heading to Reims now to do a few more pictures and whatever else, and then we're getting on the Euro tunnel this evening, and it's going to be really sad. I'm going to miss the driving, I'm going to miss the people. It's so well organised, so we all get given CB radio, one of these, and we can talk to each other on it, but it's not really designed as a communication tool in that sense. It's designed for Pete and Dan to let us know of any hazards or any issues. These guys, Stuart and Maggie here in the R8 on the left of me, I just have to look at him and he makes me laugh. Like honestly, last night on dinner, it was the final night and everyone was we were just laughing the whole of dinner, you know. everyone had come right out of their show, and it's almost sad that we've got to this point where we're all heading home now, and I'm sure hopefully I'll see most of these guys again on another trip.
Clear doesn't mean go. So you've got to make your judgment. Just make sure you assess it well and you're happy.
How many times have you been looking down the line of cars with the truck in front and you thought, it's clear, I'm going to go, there's nobody else to go? I'm not talking about on tour, I'm talking about in normal life. And you're halfway down the overtake, and the car immediately behind the truck then suddenly decides to split out.
Good morning guys, welcome to day 4 of the Petrolhead tours. We literally rolled out of bed and straight onto some incredible roads this morning. Like you wouldn't believe. We've been driving for about 2 hours down just beautiful valleys, amazing passes, just a combination of everything. We're now at the top of the Newfoundland Pass. I think I pronounced that wrong probably, but it's just unbelievable. Right, I'm now following Pete from Petrolhead tours, who is an absolute legend behind the wheel. And yeah. In a totally stock M235, but he has got the 8-speed auto. Before you go, so you've got to look at the obviously the cost of it. To me, it's extremely good value when you consider. So this particular trip, you get the Eurotunnel. This includes the Eurotunnel. It includes the hotels. It includes dinner and breakfast every day. So all you've got to figure out for yourself is obviously everything on top of that. So lunch, snacks, but obviously the biggest expense is fuel. And I'd say, on average, we're probably doing about a tank and a quarter per day. So at the end of this, well, 7-day trip, I reckon I've probably done close to about 600 or 700 quid's worth of fuel. So that's your main expense, initial expense. The other thing that you've got to be really aware of and sure of is the condition of your car. The pace is pretty hot most of the time, but saying that, you don't have to be on it all the time. You know, you can spend one day on it and then go, you know what, tomorrow I'm going to chill and relax. And there's always 2 or 3 groups, one out the front with Pete and one in the middle with Dan, and then, you know, if there's a chilled group and if they want to chill out, then that's fine. And Dan and Pete will keep an eye on things. If you say you're going to hang back, they'll keep checking up on you, making sure everything's fine. So you're always feeling looked after, and you're always feeling included and part of the group. You know, I had an afternoon off where I was just like, you know what? No, I'm just going to sit at my own pace and enjoy and take in the, you know, take in the sights and the views and stuff, because in many ways that's just as important, especially for me. This was my annual holiday, you know, like this was a week of absolute fun. It's a week of exactly what I wanted to do. So at the same time as really ragging my car and spending many days enjoying it, I also, you know, I was up in those beautiful Alps, and it was an afternoon where I was just like, you know what, it was coming down off the Col de Bonnet, and I just thought, no, I'm gonna chill, I'm gonna relax, I'm gonna take it easy, sunroof open, windows open, and just admire the views, take it all in, you know. I've made it up to the top of Col de Bonnet, which I think is one of the highest paved roads in Europe, if not in the world. The last time I was here, about 4 years ago, almost exactly 4 years ago, it was extremely windy and you could hardly stand up. I tried getting out of the car and it was quite scary because I felt like I was going to fall down there. Now, this is just one of the most picturesque roads or places on the planet. I've had a great drive coming up here, it's been awesome, unbelievable place, just incredible, magical up here, and the car is really struggling actually. There's very little power because we're at such high altitude. We're at about 3,000 meters, so yeah, it's crazy. There's a load of bikers up here, a load of Harley Davidsons. Yeah, it's sort of biker paradise, and we're so high that in fact there's very few cyclists up here. We've seen loads on many of the passes today, but up here there's very, very few. trip is for serious drivers, you know, like if you think you're good and fast at driving, come away to this, because you will be more than satisfied, and the pace will, you know, 80% of the time be more than good enough. And we're not breaking rules or anything like that, we're just carrying good speed through some incredible, very quiet roads. And when you've got someone out front letting you know on the radio that everything's clear and there's no dangers, it's just that much easier. Obviously you've got to judge things yourself and drive within your own limits, but it's just awesome.
Before we get to Gorge, there's a fuel stop just in case anyone didn't fill up before we got here yesterday. I'm assuming everyone's got sort of 3/4 tank each.
Best road on the planet. The extent people will go to get a picture, I love it. But it's worth it. So what sort of level of car could you bring? I would say that the base sort of limit of a car for this sort of trip would be something like a Mark 7 Golf GTI. Just be wary of what you bring to one of these trips. Now, I was lucky to have my AM135 slightly lowered, slightly spaced out prior to this trip, and it just made all the difference for me. Now, I had Michelin Pilot Super Sports on this car, which I rave on about all the time, and before I left for this trip, I would say they were half worn, so they had about 4.5 mil of tread left in them. If I had loads of money, I would have put a fresh set of rubber on, but obviously I had to do it within sort of budget, so I didn't. And they've pretty much lasted perfectly. I would say they're pretty much on their legal limits now. Bit tired today. Last proper day's driving in the Alps, and then tomorrow we're heading back to the Eurostar.
So when we leave from here, we'll jump on the motorway for like 5 minutes, and then we peel off and we start climbing the hills straight away.
Make sure you have European roadside assistance, which I do because this car is less than 2 years old, less than 3 years old, and also your insurance. A lot of UK insurance only covers you third party in the rest of Europe, so make sure you pay that 38 or 40 quid, whatever it is. Ring your insurance, double check. If you need to do it, pay the extra 40 quid, get the green card, carry the green card with you in the car, because you know that if I ditch this car in the Alps or wherever, that, you know, I would only be covered third party. So if I smashed it up, wrote it off, I would have to pay for everything, the recovery, everything. You know, I'd be left, it would be the most expensive trip in the world. We all have a Garmin sat nav, and every single sat nav has got each day's route on it, but with all the little stops, so like fuel stops and lunch stops and view stops and whatever, so it's all on there. So even if you decide to go on your own, like I did that one afternoon, I had everything on there. So it's like, okay, well, I've got quarter of a tank. Oh, the fuel, the scheduled fuel stop is in 2 kilometers. Great.
Once we're on the motorway, as and when people need comfort brakes, by all means, dive off, have a comfort brake, dive back on again.
Joe can do some yoga.
Okay.
That joke.
Yeah. Behind the 430 or the Challenge Stradale or whatever it might be, and it's really interesting as a passionate car head to follow all these cars reasonably hard and just see how they react and see how they handle through certain sections. And it's just cool, it's really cool, especially being in a sort of hot hatch like this. I love being the underdog. But saying that, in a lot of the stuff it's very tight and twisty. In some sections I was like, I'm glad I'm in this and I'm not in a supercar, because I want it, you know, I'm happy that it's a bit narrower and I'm not having to sort of worry too much about my 200 grand supercars. One of the guys that's on this trip this year, he bought his Focus RS I believe last year, and he said he almost had as much fun in that as he did in his Ferrari this year. So it really is, it's just all about what you like and what you drive and what you have available to you as well, you know. So yeah, highly recommended guys, and yeah, keep tuned for more. Cheers. Flat out. Look at that thing go. Fucking hell, adrenaline junkie.